Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood here. I hope it's a beautiful day in your neighborhood. Makes life so much nicer, isn't it, when you look out in the morning and the sky is blue and clear and makes you just kind of want to sing with the birds. I was out kind of humming with the hummingbirds this morning. I don't sync with the other birds. I don't want to scare them off. But the hummers don't seem to mind if I hum along with them. Yes, the microphone is on. I'm getting that look. But I was really good this morning and actually remembered to turn the microphone on before I clicked go live. So you should be able to hear me. And if you can't hear me, let me know. I'm getting a thumbs up from the technical department over there. So I'm going to assume that the rest of you can hear me as well. So, happy hot Sunday, Susan says. Yeah, I've been trying to stay inside so far. I don't do heat well. I kind of wilt. And I haven't found anything to fix that yet. So, in lieu of that, I ignore it as long as I possibly can. That's my best way. Plus which, I have a little tiny fan on over here to keep me oblivious to the heat. Good, Jennifer can hear me. Susan can obviously hear me. Yay! Hey, girls. How is everybody this morning? Let me know. How's your life going? How's the world treating you? And how are you treating the world? What's going on in your lives? I love to know. I really do. It's not that I'm snoopy. It's that, well, a little bit of it is that I'm snoopy because I'm just naturally kind of a curious person. But the other part of that is if you would like prayer, if you would like me putting in one of my words for you, I'm happy to do that. So keep me posted. And I love to hear when all is well. I love to hear that because I know when your world is happier, better, healthier, more joyous, then my world is too. And it's just good to know. So here we are on yet another Sunday morning, ready to go. Jennifer says ready for a nap. Oh, yeah. Yeah, grocery shopping. Boo. Not a really pleasant experience anymore by the time you wait in line to get in and the shelves aren't quite as full. I don't do a lot of that. Cat takes care of a lot of the grocery shopping and the errand running and that kind of thing for us. And then I wash everything down once it gets in the door. That's my job. Happy Sunday, Rosa Maria. Glad that you are here. Christina's life is good. That's very glad to hear. Since she's my daughter, that means my grandchildren are also good. That means life is good. Yay. Hello, everyone. Hello, Brenda. Glad you're here. Okay, Jennifer, I got it. Peace in your household. Have it, have it, have it. Grocery shopping already. Well, I suppose it's better to get it out of the way before it gets too hot. That makes sense. And before all the crazies get out there and do their craziness, which is their job in the world, isn't it? To do that? I think so. I think the world needs crazies. And, you know, at any given moment, any one of us could be one of those. I know I have been on more than one occasion, and my children could tell stories, but won't. Actually, they don't have to. I am pretty good at telling stories on myself. Let's see. What else do I need to say before I get started? It's just a good day. I'm feeling like it's going to be a particularly good day today, and I don't know what that means, really. I don't have any particular expectations of it, other than I get to see my children at our family meeting later this afternoon, and that always makes me happy. And I get to talk to you this morning, and that always makes me happy. So see, it's already a good day, isn't it? isn't it? How is this day for you? And how are you in it? And let us know. If you would like prayer support, please just leave a little note in there. And you don't have to give all the details. I don't need to know the details, neither does anybody else. But just, your name and a topic, and we can handle that. If it looks like I'm not paying attention, it's because I don't always see the comments. But Cac is keeping track of things. I can see her over there writing. So I know that we'll take care of it. We'll pray. Good morning, Dana. Glad you're here. Good morning. Good afternoon, Dana. Glad you're here. Either way, morning or afternoon. Laura, hello, darling. Happy heat wave. Yeah, well, it must be getting hot out there. I've been ignoring it. Donna, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, good afternoon. However you're feeling. Oh, I think it's cooler in Ventura than it is in the LA area. I'm looking at those of you who are commenting on the heat wave, and I'm kind of thinking it's hit you harder than it has hit us. We have a new thing now. Did I talk about this? Maybe I did on Wednesday. We have a thing called a pest repellent, but what it is like a rain bird that senses movement and then goes off and waters things quite a bit. And it's supposed to make the squirrels go away. Well, two of the squirrels have already figured out how to get around that, and which is really frustrating on one level because I'm really kind of mad at the squirrels right now. Besides the peach tree and the artichokes and something else that they had gotten to. Oh, they've now eaten the apples off the apple tree, and we had a volunteer tomato plant. We actually built a cage, if you will, a really big cage, to hold the tomato plants this year because last year the squirrels decimated them. So the ones that are inside are doing fine. They're squirrel safe. But we had a volunteer that had started outside from last year, I guess. And he was about this tall and had tomatoes on him and was looking beautiful. And I looked out yesterday morning and he was all droopy. And I thought, we shouldn't get that droopy overnight. But maybe he just is really thirsty. I'll go look. And he wasn't really thirsty. He was cut off right at the base. Just shoot off. So now I am double mad at the squirrels because they killed the volunteer. He worked so hard to be in our world and to give us tomatoes, and they killed him. So now I really want to get rid of the squirrels. I have had it with them. So I was watching this morning as it went off, and a squirrel literally waited for it to stop, jumped down, got safe before it could go off again. So I went out early this morning and played in the water like kids do. Because when you move this thing, it goes off. The minute you touch it, it senses movement and goes pretty powerfully. So I was out getting wet and enjoying every moment of it and still feeling like I was doing some good in the universe by inviting the squirrels to go next door. She loves them. She doesn't growing fruits and vegetables and stuff. She has kind of a wild backyard.
Weeds. She grows weeds.
You said that. I didn't say that. And she seems to really enjoy the squirrels. So I'm thinking of putting up signs that say squirrels that way, and little signs with pictures of squirrels with a line through them, anything to get the message across to them that they really aren't welcome here anymore because they have taken advantage of our kindness. Now, if you know of any other surefire ways to get rid of squirrels, please let us know. We are open to any and all suggestions. But in the meantime, we've got this great sprayer, and on a hot day, it's kind of a fun thing to work with. So the squirrels may not be enjoying it, but I am. All right, having said all that, I get the trophy for what I'm afraid to look. Ah, hola, Nancy. Glad you're here. Ah, all right. So my squirrel story for the day has been told. I feel better now just having unloaded it on all of you. And like I say, if any of you know any really good ways of getting rid of squirrels, I'm not willing to trap them because then what do you do with them? You know, nothing good. I would take them to the park down the street and let them loose there. They would probably work their way back, but I could do that, except that apparently it's against the law to release them in anywhere, I guess. So, you know, how many squirrels and how many cages do you want to collect? I don't want to do that. And I'm not willing to do what I'm sure it is they think you're supposed to do. So, I just want them to go next door where she likes them and they won't do any harm. So if you've got any ideas on should I send them like an invite or an evite or something? Um, Cat is going, all right, all right. Good morning, Don and Brad. Glad you're here. If I've missed anybody, I'm sorry. Donna, did I say hi to you? Well, I will now. Hi, Donna. There. Um, why don't I just get started? Because otherwise I'll tell another squirrel story and you don't need to hear another squirrel story. So, this morning's topic is called, I finally have a title. Cac's been asking me for a title for 3 days and I said I don't have one. Bedazzled, don't be dazed. Which I think is kind of a cool topic. So, here we go. Anywho, and it all starts with this. So before you pass judgment, let me just get past the first 2 minutes and then you'll be fine. Said without comment. Okay, so several years ago, and I do mean several years ago, during the third season of The Apprentice, back before it all became about Donald Trump embarrassing celebrities, and it was just about Trump embarrassing normal everyday people, one of the contestants, a woman named Tana Gertz, made a big deal out of the fact that she could use a bedazzler to decorate darn near anything with rhinestones. She insisted that the bedazzler would add sparkle and bling to the project her team was working on, and that because everything was sparkly and blingy, they would win the competition. Well, apparently it took too much time to bedazzle everything. I remember watching this show, and her team got very frustrated with her because she was taking way more time with her bedazzling than they thought that anybody should take, and that they were going to run late on everything else. And so they stopped bedazzling things, and she was frustrated, but she made it to the finals and was the runner-up. So all was not lost. And a lot of us who previously had no clue whatsoever found out more than we ever wanted to know about a craft tool. And it worked out pretty well for Tana, too, because following the completion of all of the shows, she was hired as a spokesperson for the Bedazzler. I was somewhat dazed to learn that in the years that followed, during the 2016 elections, Tana was working in Iowa to elect, you know who, President of the United States. She courted delegates by using apprentice-type games. And even though her candidate lost the Republican caucus in Iowa to Ted Cruz, he did win in Iowa when it counted the following November. So maybe Tana and her rhinestones ultimately really did do him some good after all. I wonder. Anyway, old history. I just really wanted to bring you up to date on the Bedazzler because I know that you have been wondering what ever happened to it. And my public service announcement for the day is that I was somewhat dazed by the fact that the Bedazzler is still available. You can find it at Michael's stores, although my local one is out of them right now, I checked. And it's available online in several places, including, of course, Amazon, where they will tell you that the Bedazzler only weighs about 8 ounces and is portable, so you can take it with you almost anywhere. Now, I don't know why you would want to do that. I mean, traveling's getting harder all the time anyway. Suitcases keep getting smaller, and it's harder and harder to pack what you need, so I can't imagine why you would want to take the Bedazzler with you, but I guess it's nice to know that you can if you want to. So, I found myself musing about how one could be dazed by all the hype around a Bedazzler, which of course sent me immediately to the dictionary, which is where I tend to go when I'm dazed. Dazed, bedazzled. What, I asked the word guru, is the difference between them? And, never one to let me down, Webster defined dazed as stunned, as opposed to stunning, confused, bewildered, or, interestingly, dazzled. While to dazzle is to impress with brilliancy or splendor, to shine or reflect brilliantly, to excite admiration, or maybe votes, by brilliance, or to overcome with intense light, as in to become enlightened. Which then, of course, led me to looking at the history of those who have been dazzled. Moses, coming down from the mountain, they said he shone like a bright, gleaming light. Saul on the road to Damascus. Emerson walking through the Commons in Concord. Walt Whitman laying on the grass, and Edward Carpenter having just left Whitman looking up and thinking that all of the city of New York was in flames. Over and over again, the mystics have talked about a dazzling light. And most make it very clear that there is a choice to be made when the light is seen. One can choose, under those unusual circumstances, to be dazed, or, under the same circumstances, one can turn their sights toward the light and be dazzled. Countless mystics have talked about being enthralled by the light. And however or by whomever it is described, the light seems clearly to be a part of an expansion of consciousness, an opening of the mind, a realization of something one did not know or be aware of before. Brilliance, bedazzlement, if you will, seems to be an awareness of the presence of the light that is beyond that which we normally see. It is not an illusion or a delusion, but the vision, the seeing of a greater truth. Some call it revelation. And it is ultimately, isn't it? Seeing God, Spirit, life in everything, in and through all that one sees. To enlighten is to give spiritual light to shed spiritual light upon something, to intuit or to instinctively grasp the brilliance and the splendor, not just in the extraordinary, but in the mundane as well, and to proclaim it, to announce it. Children do that, don't they? They see the wonder in something or someone, and they just shout it out, at least until they are shushed by their parents. Somewhere, somehow, we seem to have lost that natural inclination toward expressing our awe out loud, that inclination to declare our enlightened moments. James Russell Lowell once wrote, "Not only in our infancy doth heaven with all its splendors lie daily. With souls that cringe and plot, we Sinai's climb and know it not." We've all been to the mountain, though we might not have known we were there until some time after. And sometimes when we have spoken our word, the mountain, the impossible thing, the immovable object has moved. When we are really convinced that our word has power and that power changes things, when we are really convinced beyond the shadow of doubting and speak our truth, the result is dazzling. I have stories. I have told them before. I won't right now. But I know that many of you also have stories of speaking your word for something, praying for something, claiming something, and having it happen just like that, as if by magic. But too often we tend to speak of such times regretfully, ruefully, as though they were miraculous events that came into our life in a precious moment, but are never to happen again. We really must get over that. We really must. Because if we think that was a once-in-a-lifetime thing, then it will become a once-in-a-lifetime thing. But if we believe that when we get ourselves to the right place, the right sacred state of mind, that things happen, then they will. Again, and again, and again. If we put these supernatural events in the category of magical gifts from a source outside ourselves, then we are denigrating or denying the power within ourselves. And we are saying that those precious moments are unique episodes, deeply appreciated, but likely not to be repeated. At least not by us. But that's not the way it works. That which we claim for ourselves, that which in affirmative prayer we recognize as our own, becomes our own. In the Gospel of Mark, you find these words: "Whatever things you ask when you pray, believe that you receive them, and you will have them." The message is clearly not that the prayer makes something happen, but that your belief is the source that makes things happen. Your belief is the source of the creative power that changes things. If we truly desire a change, we must, believing, claim it as our own. Instead of being dazed by the complexities of our lives, we must gather up the miracles and the memories of all of the little miracles that have filled our lives and allow ourselves to be dazzled by them. Dazzled by our own experiences to the extent that we nearly glow in the remembrance of their light. And that we allow the memories to uplift and enlighten us, to build our belief in the presence of the miraculous power that in fact accompanies us every moment of our lives. Jesus said, "These things that I do, and greater things will you do." Really? Really? If we are to do what Jesus claims we would do, then there must come a time when we speak the conviction that is within us. The conviction that things in our lives, things in our world are not what they appear to be. But that this is first and foremost a spiritual universe, and that when it is spiritually conceived, miracles occur. Start where you are. Gather up the little miracles. Remember those things that perhaps at the time seemed like coincidences or flukes of faith or serendipities. Remember what you have already seen, what you have already experienced, and let yourself feel the gratitude welling up within you. Feel yourself being changed by the gratitude and by the remembrance of the little things. And at the same time, know what you know. Allow yourself to be dazzled by what has already happened to you, has already been given to you, has already been revealed to you. And then be prepared to experience even more of the wonder that an unlimited creation has provided and will provide again for you. It isn't that hard. It really isn't. It's just a matter of remembering the right things. We have all been dazed by circumstances, by the appearance of darkness or disease, or frustrated by the events of the moment. And all too often, those things become our focus. Those things become that which we set our minds on, and we allow those experiences, those moments, to dictate our worldview, and more importantly, to occlude our spiritual view. But we have also all seen the light in moments, haven't we? We have felt the presence and understood the truth, even if only for a moment. And we have seen the quiet power behind things and been dazzled by it. Faith and the willingness to see beyond appearances, to focus on the greater truth, is what makes the difference between being dazed and being dazzled. Rachel Lindsay once wrote of one who walked by faith, eyes dazzled by the ways of God. Edmund Rostand wrote, "I fall back dazzled at beholding myself all rosy red, at having I myself caused the sun to rise." We have had enough of being dazed by appearances. It is time to allow yourself to be dazzled at the myriad ways that Spirit shows up in your life. Be dazzled by those little moments, those little occasions, those little miracles in the past that have changed your life. Be dazzled by the power within you to change circumstances, to heal, to reveal, to shine. Be dazzled at beholding yourself as a bringer of light to the world, as the light of God shines through you. And be dazzled by the realization that some part of you causes the sun to rise and the light to shine and works miracles on a daily basis. Do not be dazed, but see beyond the haze that hangs over the hearts and minds of ordinary humanity. Believe in the power of God within you, the power of creation within you. Proclaim that power at every opportunity. Show the world what you are really made of. Remember, recall, pray, believe, and be dazzling. Excuse me, dry spot. So that's my thoughts for this morning. Actually, those were also my thoughts yesterday, which is why I'm talking about them this morning. Must be God calling. Or a telemarketer, who is also God in expression, just not quite as appreciated as the infinite, perhaps. I see that while I have been talking, you guys have been taking care of my squirrel problem. I love it. I love it. Throw veggies in her yard for them to eat. Good idea, Don. Maybe I could just leave a trail of them, that leads over the fence. And I mean, she doesn't mind them. Or so she says. Oh, you guys are good. Jennifer says, why does it seem so difficult to stay in that state of mind? Jennifer, what I think is true, what I know is true for me, is that practice makes things more usual. So we have to remind ourselves. And the question is, what can you do to remind yourself to stay in that state of mind? And I don't think we want to be in the deepest awareness. Well, maybe we do. Let me think on that. I just know that the time that stands out the most in my mind, when I was just there, nothing was more important than simply being there. And I don't even know how long I was there because I lost track of time. That was a pretty deep state of awareness. But coming out of it, I felt different. I was different. I'm sure of that. And I think that state we can stay in. It's as though you were in a deep state of meditation, and you don't necessarily want to be in a deep state of meditation all the time because you have to deal with the world, don't you? Can't say, go away, I'm meditating. There are children to be worked with, there are jobs to be handled, the world goes on. But I think the more often we can remind ourselves that that is where we want to be, aware at the deepest level of our own spirituality and our own power, the more we remind ourselves that that's where we want to be, the more we will be there. There is a Karita print that hangs in our office that is very simple. It's a swatch of red paint and a swatch of yellow above that, and then a swatch of blue above that. But across mostly the yellow part, it says simply, to see again what I have seen before. And if we live as much as we can, I think in that state of awareness, that state of seeing again what we have seen before, feeling again what we have felt before, being again what we know we have been before on a spiritual level. If we stay in the state of really wanting that, then we will find ourselves there more and more often. I'm often confused by the statement that says where your intention is, your attention is, because I'm never sure if that's the way it ought to be or if it should be the other way around, where your attention is, your intention is, because both things I think are true. So if our intention is to stay in that state of mind, to stay centered spiritually, to come from that place while still walking through the world as the human being that we are, then we will find ourselves more and more often doing that, more and more often falling back into this spiritual truth, more and more often speaking this spiritual truth, more and more often living the spiritual truth in our daily life. And isn't that what we really aspire to? There's much to be done in this world. Jennifer says, let's go bedazzle the world. That's the point. That's the point. And we don't have to go to Michael's and buy that little machine first, although you can if you want to. I suppose if you put enough rhinestones on it, people will pay attention to it. That's probably also true. But in the meantime, let's just go dazzle things with our brilliance and our light, and most of all, our truth. If we are living in it and from it, then the world will be aware of it. And the more of the world that is aware of it, the more things will change for the better. That I am sure of. Hi, Randy. Glad you're here. It doesn't have to be difficult, Jennifer. It just takes practice. And I think what we want to do probably is start out by telling ourselves it doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't. And you go from it doesn't have to be to it isn't to, did I say that once upon a time? I guess I did. Look at me. And I don't think that way anymore. The spiritual truth is it doesn't have to be difficult. The spiritual truth is it really isn't difficult once you set your mind to it. And so let us set our mind to it. Let us decide that it doesn't have to be difficult, and it isn't difficult for us to stay in that state of mind where we are aware of the spiritual truth and coming from that spiritual truth in every moment. And we may fall short of it. Don't tell. We will fall short of it once in a while as we practice. But it's the same thing as a baby learning to walk or learning to drive a car or anything that has multiple pieces to it. The more we practice it, the better we get at it until the day we're just good at it. You know, they talk about unconscious incompetence, which is I don't know how to do it and I don't even know that I don't know how to do it. And then there's conscious incompetence, which is I still don't know how to do it, but now I know that I don't know how to do it. And then there becomes conscious competence. I'm aware of myself being good at this now. I'm aware that I can do this and I'm good at it. And then there is unconscious competence which is I don't even think about it anymore. I just do it. I've moved my awareness onto something else because this comes so easily to me, I don't even think about it. Remember the first time you got in a car to drive it and all of those things that had to be done. And now you just get in the car and you drive it and you don't even think about it, do you? And if the radio is too loud, you reach over and turn it down and don't even think about it. And of course, you're not texting while you're driving, so you don't have to think about that at all. I don't want any of you to ever get good at that. Just don't do it. So, that became almost the bigger question this morning, and Jennifer, thank you for that. It doesn't have to be difficult, and we must stop telling ourselves that it is difficult and start telling ourselves, first of all, that it doesn't have to be difficult, and then that it isn't difficult, and then that we are just doing it. This is what I do. This is where I come from. I am a spiritual being, and this is the place that I come from. Spiritual truth is what I tell. Spiritual action is what I do. Yay, spiritual me. And there was a time when I thought it was hard, but it's not. It's just where I live. Got it? Good. Oh, let me see. Is there anything else? That was so good, Jennifer. Thank you. Yes, Dana, good point. Forgiving yourself. Dana says, I have found that looking at my own challenges and forgiving myself has helped me walk closer to my spiritual center. And yes, it absolutely will. If there is anything you're beating yourself up about, get over it. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself as you have forgiven others, as God has forgiven you. God doesn't hold anything against you. God doesn't hold anything against you. You really wouldn't want to believe in a God that did. So if God can forgive you, can't you forgive yourself? See, most of us hold more stuff against us personally than we do against other people. Forgiveness is a virtue. Practice it. Practice it on yourself. Yes, conscious autopilot. Jefferson, I love you. I love you. Jefferson said our consciousness can be a perfect accessory. Okay, also pearls, but not as vital. The pearls are the consciousness. Uh, yeah. We should all just, okay, right now, stop everything. Close your eyes. And even if you think you're not telling yourself the truth, I want you to say, I forgive myself for everything. Everything. Even that. And so it is. Okay? You with me? You may have to do that more than once. You may not. Some of you I know can do it once and it'll be done. Others of you are going to second guess yourself. So if you're second guessing yourself, you may have to go back and do it again. But do it. Do it until you can say, and so it is, and mean it. So, I'm looking at the clock on the computer because I still don't have one on the wall. I really don't want to live with one on the wall. There's enough stuff on the wall. I like pretty things on the wall, like Karita Kent posters, which we have a couple of, and some cool stuff. And there are enough clocks here. I mean, there's 2 phones sitting on my desk. They both have clocks, and my computer has a clock. So how many clocks does any one person need? Um, I love you all so much. I read your comments, and I'd say I get distracted by them, but that's not really the word that I want to use. You inspire me. You're a pretty wonderful family to have. And I love you. So, thank you for being here. Shall we pray? I think we shall. So, close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, or just soft focus. Whatever it takes for you to turn your attention inward, to let the stuff of the world just kind of fade away for a minute or two. And breathe. Just gently follow your breath. And recognize that breathing alone is miraculous. Right there, an everyday miracle. The tides of your breath. And the air that surrounds you, that you've done nothing to create. It's just there, waiting. As you breathe in, it flows. It becomes a part of you. It circulates through your body. And then as you exhale, ridding yourself of anything that isn't needed or wanted or desired. And that very stuff, as you exhale, feeds the plants, makes them grow. The beautiful trees that give us shade and fruit and beauty thrive on that which we exhale. And the trees then give back in a reciprocal arrangement that we had nothing to do with creating, and yet which provides for us miraculously. Dazzling, isn't it? And so I know for each one of us today that we allow ourselves to be dazzled by the miraculous that surrounds us. and the miraculous within us and the miraculousness of life itself. Dazzled by the light, by the beauty, by the wonder that surrounds us. Seeing things today that we have not seen before, appreciating things today that we have not appreciated before. Recognizing our oneness today with those that we have not recognized that we were one with until now. And I know that each one of us easily recalls miraculous moments in our lives and gathers them like precious jewels. And allows those memories, those precious jeweled memories, to help us see the light once again. To be reminded of how naturally, how effortlessly the light comes when we invite it. And so we are, each of us today, dazzled by the simplicity of life, the ease with which the miraculous comes to us and moves through us and blesses us and blesses our world. And I proclaim for each of us today a miracle. Something perfectly natural but unexpected that occurs in each life today, if we simply keep our eyes open and look and accept and remember. And I am grateful for the miraculous lives that we lead, for the way miracles flow in and out of our lives on a daily basis, and for the way now that we see and accept and remember and are changed in wondrous ways by each simple, natural miracle. Gratefully, I get any of my negativity, any of my thoughts that things need to be difficult, anything that stands in the way, out of the way, and let it be so. And so it is. And so it is. And so we let it be. See, I think somewhere along the line, we've told ourselves that we didn't deserve or shouldn't have. We won't do that anymore, will we? When we hear those thoughts running loose in our heads, we negate them instantly and say that isn't so. I am a spiritual being in a spiritual universe, and I act accordingly. And so it is, don't you think? I think so. So, here we are. Thank you, all of you, for being here today. I almost said this morning. Well, it's morning somewhere. It's still morning in Hawaii, isn't it? Yeah, it is. So, aloha. And thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Thank you to those of you who share the video or put it up on your timeline so that others will trip on it and perhaps listen. Thank you to those of you who have taken the time to go to the relevantspirituality.com website and make donations. We are still waiting to hear from Facebook about putting a donation button up. They say it takes a few weeks for them to get around to telling you that it's okay. So we will wait that out. And just thank you. Thank you. Um, I'll be here again Wednesday night at 7. And again, here next Sunday because it's what I do and I love doing it and I love being with all of you. Thank you for being here this morning and sharing your thoughts and your ideas with me. I think I'm going to have to wear pearls next Sunday. Thank you, Jefferson, for the reminder. And until we meet again, know that you go with God because you can go no other way. I love you. I'll see you again soon.